Calvin Davis.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, before the break, I was talking about the wardens. Now, the wardens and the definition of wardens under Clause 7. And I think it's important that for the record we differentiate between the wardens appointed for the purpose of this bill, this Act, and wardens appointed under the Māori Community Development Act. Now, the wardens of the Māori Community Development Act, Mr. Chair, are good-natured, normally elderly people who are standing at the gates of marae directing traffic. But for the purpose of this bill, these wardens basically got the power to... Sorry, Mr. Chair, I'm having trouble concentrating, not so much from Mr. Quinn this time, but more from my own colleague. But the appointment of wardens, they're responsible to the customary marine title group for the following functions: to assist in implementing prohibitions or restrictions, entering wāhi tapu for the purpose of performing their functions, and advising members of the public of any applicable prohibition or restriction. And Mr. Chair, the question is, how are these wardens to be identified by members of the public? How do they know that there's not just any Tom, Dick or Hori turning up and telling them that they can't be in a particular place? So that's just a question that I think needs clarification in terms of this bill, exactly what a warden means. Now, there was the hysteria again coming from the likes of the Coastal Coalition that we're going to have these Māoris in sunglasses and baseball bats scaring people off the foreshore and seabed. Now, when we think that this bill actually relates to probably only 2, 3, 5% of New Zealand's coastline, and most of those areas that we're talking about are going to be relatively isolated, such as up around the North Cape, it's pretty unlikely that this is just to settle the nerves of the ACT Party and the Coastal Coalition. It's pretty unlikely that there's going to be a big Māori in sunglasses and a baseball bat standing on the edge of the beach warning people off, because if you go up near North Cape, I doubt if in the history of all of Aotearoa New Zealand there's probably been more than 2,000 people over the last 2 millennium actually set foot on these beaches. If you left your car at the road and had to walk through, it would probably take you about 4 or 5 hours to get there. And I would say that any warden, if he was dumb enough to be standing there waiting for somebody to turn up just so he could turn them away, the chances are he'd actually probably be more likely to give them a cup of tea and welcome them to go and have a swim in the beach and everything, because he just actually wants some company. Mr. Chair, I think that the warden issue needs to be settled, that we're not going to have big burly Māoris frightening off everybody. There was another guy, obviously another Coastal Coalition person, who said that he was scared that his surf lifesaving club was not going to be able to practice surf lifesaving. He said that it was the oldest surf lifesaving club in around the Tauranga area, and that he'd been a surf lifesaver for 50 years. 50 years, and now it's ridiculous that all these Maoris, when someone needs to be rescued out in the ocean there, that they have to ring up and ask permission from a warden or somebody like that so that they can cross over the sand and get to the water. And we said, mate, have you read the bill? Have you read the bill? And the answer was he hadn't. Well, if he had, he just totally didn't understand it, because the exclusive use of the foreshore and seabed, if his surf life-saving club had been there for 50 years, then there's no way that beach could be deemed exclusively used by Māori, and therefore he had nothing to worry about. Mr. Chair, I just want to talk about the wāhi tapu. This is an issue that got the Coastal Coalition, again, their backs up. I can't really think of many areas, in fact I can only think of one area that is underneath the high tide mark that may be deemed a wāhi tapu, and that is the resting place up at Tākau Bay of the Mātātua Waka. Now, according to our traditions, the Mātātua Waka came over and it settled down, stopped down in Whakatane area somewhere there, and there was a bit of a ding dong between a couple of brothers who were the chiefs on the waka, and then our tūpuna puhi, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair. Come on, Mr. Chair.
Jonathan Young.